Hello, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human today to talk about how to swipe left on ugly thoughts. Welcome. This is a channel where we talk about and explore the outer reaches of human consciousness and discuss things like emotional mastery, advanced manifesting, extended human capabilities, and more. Welcome. I'm Jess. I'm so glad you're here. We continue to grow. So if you're new here, so glad you're here. And this is more of a light-hearted conversation today, and I want to share a technique that I have been doing. A huge part of my manifestation journey and learning how to be a better manifester and learning how to emotionally regulate is thought management. That was I realized early on in this practice that was where I really wanted to target my energy and my effort, because I knew that if I could tame the narrator, tame the internal critic, really make my head space a pleasant place to exist, to be, that would pay off. And it totally has. And so I want to give you some tips and a cool example today of how I continue to do this, and a great analogy of how to do it well and easily. It's not that you have to be perfect, and when we have a thought, the thought comes up, the feeling is associated with that. So the feelings are the thoughts your body's thinking. So your mind is thinking one thing, your body's thinking another. And then the thoughts, the feelings and the thoughts and the emotions are what manifest our reality, what create our reality, and create kind of the state of being that then puts us into, or that we generate our sensory reality from those states of being. And so we believe what we think. This is the kicker. I concentrated my effort on the thoughts because, not that you have to be perfect in the thoughts, but that we believe what we think, right? We always just automatically, right? A thought comes up and we believe it. We're like, oh yeah, that's true. We especially believe it if we repeat it. If it's a repeated thought, right? Our neurons fire together, wire together, and then we believe it. It becomes a part of us. It then ingrains and becomes conditioned, and we just literally take that thought for granted. A belief is a thought we've practiced a lot, or that has a lot of force behind it. That's really attached to a big emotion. You can have one thought one time, and if it has a huge emotion behind it, like, it will also create that kind of neural patterning to be part of, like, in your conditioning. So thought management, and how can we do this easier? It does take a little time to kind of train your thoughts. Your thoughts are like a horse, an unbroken horse. You have to keep reinforcing. You have to keep, questioning, and you have to keep monitoring. It becomes a habit for your awareness to be paying attention to what you're thinking. That's what I've found in my journey. And so I want to present an idea to you. The thing is, we can have a thought, but if we separate that belief, if we don't automatically believe it, right? We can allow the thought to come up, but we don't have to do anything with it. So I want you to think of it like Tinder. Now, I used Tinder a million years ago. I was not a fan of it. But the one thing that I think is very applicable is swiping left, right? When you're going through Tinder, I was very mindless about it. And it was just like, when someone's picture came up that I didn't feel anything for, it was just that instant feeling of yes, no, right? And you swiped left on the guys, for my case, the guys that I didn't like, or the girls you didn't like. You didn't swipe left and then beat yourself up because you just swiped left. Why don't I like that guy? I shouldn't, it didn't turn into something. You just swipe left. There's really no emotion attached to it or reactivity attached to it beyond just expressing your preference. And that's what we can start doing with thoughts. If thought management is important to you, if it's important to you to be a better manifester, if it's important for you to have a headspace that's pleasant to live in, where you're at peace with your mind, you're content, and you want to be really good at mastering an emotional regulation, mastering your emotions, regulating them, thought management is a huge part of that. So if you take that metacognitive view, and typically your thoughts inhabit a space. There's like a space that we construct of where our thoughts are and where they're moving, if that makes sense. In meditation, it can be described as like thoughts moving through like clouds. For me, thoughts move like left to right, like I'm reading. And who knows, if you can identify, if you can really sit and just observe the space where your thoughts are, swiping left is also, for me then, is a really unnatural movement of my thoughts, right? If I have a thought come up, typically it kind of floats to the right and I'm chewing on it or integrating it. But if I swipe left, if I literally make a movement with my thoughts as they come up where I'm like, it's a left swipe, it's different than what I normally do. It's a different metacognitive movement with the thought, which also helps reinforce, right? Because if you're just always believing, and then you have a thought pop up that's like, it has that little bit of like, that little feeling of like, I don't want to believe that, or that's not okay with me. I don't consent to this. You kind of just swipe left. So there's no, again, it's like with Tinder. You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to follow it up with, oh, I really shouldn't think that. I have to watch every thought. Don't worry about that. Just swipe left. You don't have to do anything with the thought. That's the thing. You can just let it come up, swipe left on it, and then move on to the next thought. And that takes a lot of energy and effort out of trying to force all of your thoughts to be a certain way, right? Trying to force yourself. For me, that was a huge part of starting out. It was really overwhelming to constantly monitor my thoughts. And now that I'm really good at it, I did that really intense, like forcing myself to think certain thoughts. But now as I am more gentle with myself and as my thought quality has greatly improved, I invite you to try this. You know, when you have a thought and you're practicing thought management, just swipe left on the thought. It just takes all of the energy out of having to then feeling like you have to castigate yourself in your own head or having to retrain yourself. You just don't do anything with the thought. Just swipe left on it, just like you would if you were choosing someone on Tinder. And then also that movement to a different way helps to reinforce that. It's kind of like submodalities in NLP, if you're familiar with NLP, where you can, make a memory brighter or dimmer, or put it into black and white, or put it into color. When you can play with your metacognitive space, you begin to be able to take greater and greater control of that space, because you're not only aware of it, but then you're able to influence it. So, you don't have to react, you don't have to ruminate, you don't have to do anything with a thought. You just swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. It's okay if you're swiping left a lot in the beginning, because you don't have to do anything with the thought. It's when we react to the thought. It's when we react that we give it energy, that we make it real. If it just comes up and we don't do anything and we swipe left on it, it doesn't happen, because we're not putting an energy behind it of, oh, I shouldn't have just thought that. I shouldn't think that. I shouldn't do that. It's just swipe left. With that same powerful presence that we would on Tinder. When you're on Tinder and you're kind of like picky, you're just like, It's very like, it's a very ambivalent energy. Use the same thing with your thoughts. It's going to help you. And then the thoughts that you like, you're like, yeah. You swipe, you let them move in the normal direction that they would move, and you savor them. You dig a little deeper into them. You milk them. You let them expand in your awareness, right? You do something with them. You let them inhabit your mental space. So, yeah, and this really works. Let me tell you a story of how this works. So I bought this new pair of earrings I was really excited about. I'm super into earrings, and I try my best to maintain the little backings. If you've ever worn an earring, many of them come with these little tiny plastic clear backings that are the size of a grain of rice-ish. And I went to put my favorite earrings on the other day, and I noticed that one of the backings had fallen off. Now, I don't know how this happened. I mean, my earrings hang on a little mounted earring hanger on my wall, so I don't know how that plastic could have come off because it fits very snugly on the back of the earring. So, and I had the thought of, I am never going to find this backing. It's gone. However, I swiped left on that thought. I swiped left, and then I thought to myself, anything is possible. I might just find this. And I went on, I wasn't really like clenching to this, having to find this backing. I do have several other backings that I could use because I have so many earrings. I have some extra ones that I had got, amassed. And so I moved on with life. I put the earrings on, I went and got a spare backing. It didn't match the original backing, but it's okay. I moved on with life. 2 days later, I'm doing my laundry. And out of the washing machine falls that earring backing. Literally, as I'm pulling my wet laundry out. Now, I can't tell you the astronomical statistical chance of this actually happening. It's something that's so tiny, a grain of rice, making it into my laundry basket, into the washing machine without falling out, surviving the washing machine cycle, and then falling out as I'm pulling the laundry out, so right there at my feet so that I could see it. I was amazed. I was absolutely in shock. And I was like, wow, this is blowing my mind right now. This has never happened to me before. I've never found an earring backing. It's never returned to me. But this is the power of manifestation when you do this. Even when the thought comes up, it's not going to manifest unless you believe it. If you swipe left on it, you can replace it with, hey, this might happen, or it's okay, or whatever your preferred thought is that you're going to swipe right on and allow to inhabit your mental space. So I thought that was a really cool example. Thanks for listening today. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Try the swipe left method, and I would love to hear how you found it, or if you have another way that you like to use when you have unwanted or ugly or undesirable thoughts come up that helps you not believe them and helps you kind of move through them. So drop a comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, and have a fabulous day. Bye.